What was that? That can you hear me now? Was that Verizon?
Yeah, I think so.
Can you
Can you
hear me
hear me
now?
now?
Can you
Can
hear
you
me
hear me
now?
now?
And he was like
No,
just
I
like
can't hear you.
he was like in the weirdest places and shit. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, welcome back to the show. This is episode 503 of the two Dum Yinzers. I'm here this morning with Mike in the Steeler Central Mobile Studio.
Oh,
Derpy's still working on his equipment, which makes us about 10 months straight. But he's getting it.
he's consistent. I give him that. He is
He's
very
consistent.
consistent.
I got to tell you, I feel like shit today, man. I almost didn't make it, but I thought, you know what? I got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this every day.
Wait,
This is serious.
it is serious.
And I thought, you know what? If I can't do an hour, so here I am.
You can't do an hour. Why are you here?
I took my I've been just pounding medicines, different kind of medicines,
Hmm.
vitamin C, Advil, Mucinex, anything that I could find. At this point, I'm just taking, and then it made me so out of it. I had to drink coffee, so now I got coffee, and then I have all these medicines doing their thing. It's insane,
Yeah,
man.
it's just all running through at the same time.
I'm just wondering. Yeah, right.
You're struggling today, man. Well, we got this, bud. We got this.
we got this, man.
We got this. Another 59 minutes to go, buddy.
Hey,
It's
we're
like that
almost there.
last hour of school or last hour of work. It can be either really, really fast or really slow.
Except for the days you got your report card. That was like the fastest day ever. I
Oh
hated that.
yeah, yeah. Well, I always had like an average report card to above average, so it never bothered me.
I had to figure. I mean, you'd spend that last part of the day figuring out how you're going to change your grades and get it to look right and not have it look inconsistent with the rest of the report card. And then the time would fly because you're concerned, you're thinking about it, you're
Yeah.
um,
So yeah,
but
I figured it out. You had an average because we did ours every 9 weeks, so it would be your two grading periods of midterm and the midterm. That would be your grade for the 9 weeks. Like you get a C. You could fail the final and have a C average. So that's what me and my buddy we figured that out. So at least you get an A the first week, C the second week, and then you flunk the final and you have a B. You're good to go.
yeah,
You look like you never had to stress and never had to worry about anything. Once
I
you
didn't
crack the
I didn't
code,
do things like that. I procrastinated to the very
yeah,
last minute with everything that I ever did, and then I just did enough just to squeak out at the very end.
yeah.
But hey,
Hey, you know what? I'm not gonna lie, I did that sometimes too. But once I cracked the code, it was so much easier.
I want to say thank you. Big thank you to Brian Pasquale.
Yes,
Of course, the guys and I were on his show last night on the radio.
yes.
One man's
Thank you. That was
opinion on
a good
sports
time.
with Brian Pasquale from WBVP 99.3 FM here in Beaver County. I was very surprised. Everybody was well behaved. Nothing slipped from the peanut gallery.
No, I was on my best behavior, and I thought I did rather well.
If you are interested, maybe you missed the show or you want to check his show out in the future, it is up on Facebook and on YouTube for WBVP. Just go to either of those places, Facebook or YouTube, type in WBVP, go to the videos, and you will find it pretty quickly. It's
Yeah.
at the top. And Mike and Derpy and myself were on Brian's show yesterday. It went very well. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about sports movies, which I was embarrassed to say that a lot of these movies I just kind of I just kind of pulled out of the hat because I didn't want to say that I have the attention span of a 2-year-old,
You
and I
can't sit
can't
down and watch a movie.
and I can't sit down and watch a movie for
Like,
nothing.
you watching a football game too, man. It's like every time there's a stop in action, you're up and gone.
Yeah,
It's like you're bouncing around doing something. So
yeah.
I can imagine you in a movie.
So but yes, it was a good time. It was a very good show. Things turned out well. I went back through and watched it, and I'd recommend if you are a listener or you're interested in us and what we do, go check it out. Very good show. It was a
It
very
was,
good show.
it was, man, and it flew by too.
Again, it's one man's opinion on sports with Brian Pasquale. He is live every Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on WBVP. You could also
Check it
go to the
out.
website and you could go from there and you could listen. You could hit the listen button and listen to it all the time. Or if you have a iPhone, Android, for whatever reason, I haven't been able to upload the app, but if you have an iPhone, it's pretty safe. You could download the app and use their app regularly. Again, it's WBVP. So last night I did learn a few things about the guys. I learned their favorite movies. You know what, I can honestly say I don't think I've ever watched a hockey movie. I'm not into hockey movies like that, guys. I just
Like, like hockey's a hard movie to put the action out there.
yeah.
Like the hockey and Mighty Ducks, it's kids movie, so it's overdone. I didn't like it. Like Miracle, it's a movie I wanted to like because I love the whole story behind that hockey team. I thought the movie was just I didn't like the movie, but I think most of it was like the action on ice. I just didn't like. And the actor portraying Craig Patrick, he didn't look like Craig Patrick, but and then even in like slap shots that on ice hockey, it kind of mirrors minor league from that time. But it's still not a crisp game to watch. And then you watch Young Bloods with oh God, who was it, with Patrick Swayze and Rob
I was
Lowe
gonna
or something
say
like that.
sudden death with Van Damme because they were
Listen, that might be the best one, man.
is
When he
that
comes in and being the goalie, he was like Dominic Hasek in there. But yeah, hockey movies are hard to like. Mystery Alaska,
and I know like
it's
I
just like
said that
hard to capture the essence of hockey.
the Mighty Ducks. And the reason I say I think I've seen it on TV, like on TBS or something at some point,
Yeah,
and I caught bits and pieces. But
but
again, I just don't
but
have
we're a
the
bit older for Mighty Ducks. I was like just outside of our age range.
I just don't have the attention span to watch movies like
Yeah.
this. But the other movies that we did talk about, White Man Can't Jump is my all time
That
favorite movie. Major League would always be my favorite baseball movie, and so
you mean
you
to
know,
tell me Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
Derpy, what movies did you say? Derpy was into
I
Derpy.
said for football,
Yeah, well,
Remember the Titans. Mighty Ducks 2 for hockey. D2. What was
What's your
golf? Golf was
greatest
the
game?
greatest game. Yeah, the greatest game ever played. And basketball was Coach Carter, I believe, or Hoosiers.
I like the Longest Yard. Somebody did have that on the comments, and I thought to myself
Longest
that
I
Yard was
forgot
good.
about the
that
longest
might be
yard.
my the
Like,
newer one. I don't want.
like,
I
like
don't. I'm
the
not
old
so
one was
into the
good. The
old
newer
Burt
one was
Reynolds
really
one.
good
The
too.
new one they did with Adam Sandler, I think was great. That may be my favorite football movie of all time.
Like mine was like it was a toss up between Varsity Blues and like you said, Necessary Roughness was a really good one that you brought up. I love that movie.
The Armadillos.
The Armadillos, man. Like the 80-year-old quarterback, should have
Yeah.
went to Penn State, but he gives up to play with the Armadillos.
Hey
But
man.
I also was going to say for football was Friday Night Lights. I thought that was a good movie. One with Billy Bob Thornton.
Replacements.
So it was a lot of
Replacements
fun.
was good. Yeah.
Lots of fun, guys. Go check it out. It is up. It will remain up. And if you, like I said, if you missed it, you could always go over there and check it out.
I was impressed how I handled myself on my radio debut.
Yeah, Hens guys did well. You were like a
Yeah,
regular Casey Kasem.
I was a little nervous getting on there, but then boom, man, I
No,
just like doing this, just doing doing this
exactly.
show.
No, but no shitting of thyself. You
No,
succeeded in
no.
that.
Well, I had a drink beforehand. I had to steady the nerves.
You're right. Did
I
you
did not
what
insult Mike on the radio.
you did not insult Mike and did
You did
very
not.
well. Next time around, you guys could loosen up a little bit. You could insult Mike and Mike could shit himself or whatever. But first time on their show, I thought that everything went really well. Mike, what did you, Derpy, guys? Did you guys give anything up for Lent?
Not no,
Derpy,
no,
No.
no thing.
Derpy, did you give anything up for Lent?
No.
You know what I gave up for Lent? I gave up Lent.
There you go. There you go.
I'm gonna succeed this year because I gave up
There you
Lent
go.
and I think I'm gonna do well with this. So
One year I had a lady at work. She asked me what I gave up for Lent, and without thinking, I said religion. And the look of shock and horror on her face. I'm like, it was a snap reaction. No,
hey, sure.
I didn't mean to offend. It was just it's not my thing. So
Um,
my bad.
the Chiefs Super Bowl championship parade, guys, got a little bit out of hand yesterday as I was
Yeah.
getting ready to go to the radio station to do the show. I was, at this point, you can't say that you're really blown away or surprised by the things that go on anymore. It breaks down like this from what I had seen most recently. There was one dead, 21 injured. 10 of the 21 that were injured were children. Three suspects have been detained. Firearms have been found, and a lot of these people were still in the hospital recovering, expecting to recover. Um, you really can't go anywhere anymore.
No, no,
Mm-mm.
no.
Um,
And we're over 800 police officers there, and they were on high alert looking for something like this to happen, and it's still.
I can't wait to find out the detail. I mean, was it a planned thing where the guys just or gals or whoever it was go in and commit this crime, or was it were these people battling? Like you just don't know what the hell happened. I didn't catch any details in that nature, but as of yesterday, guys, that's another terrible incident that
I did see a video where one of the
Props to the fan
suspects
though.
was fleeing, and two Kansas City Chief fans. They laid the dude out. They tackled him.
Yeah.
Someone was able to get a woman was able to grab the gun and pull it to the side and stand by it and point it out to the cops. And like two guys were holding down the suspect. Yeah,
I
up
gotta
until the cops came.
I don't know if I'd be that much of a you like to always when you
I
when
think
you
you'd
lay
be
your
the hero.
when you lay your head down at night, your mind you let
Uh-huh.
it move, you let it go.
Mhm.
And sometimes you could picture yourself being the hero, but when it comes down to it, I don't know. I might be
Like
I
George
might
Might be fleeing.
Costanza, you just
I
take
would be
off running.
I would be George Costanza. I would probably freeze or something. It's so hard to say because you just know at that particular moment in time that person could turn and pull the trigger like within a second, and that could be it. So it would just have to be a snap thing where
Yeah.
I just made the decision at that point, and what a terrible situation. And then now it's bleeding. Everything's bleeding over into football, and that's what pisses me off. Just leave our shit alone. Go, whoever these people are, go do your thing with your people. And if you kill each other, what are you gonna do? I mean, this is thousands of people coming in to celebrate their football team, which they do for every year for 58 years now, and you can't even do that. It's just it's fucked up, man.
Yeah. That's why I
Not
stay
a
at home.
fan.
That's why I stay at home.
Brian, yes, no, thank you, of course,
Yes,
for
thank
having us
you.
on the show. We did talk a little bit at the top of the show about it. Learned some things about you as well, Brian. Seabiscuit, huh? I was stumped because once you got outside of the four major sports,
Uh-huh.
I could honestly say I don't, that's why I went with dodgeball because it was the only thing that came to my
Like I
mind.
forgot about Dodgeball, and I love that movie.
I'm thinking what the things that are popping in my head are like curling. Is there any curling movies? No, there's no curling
Like
movies.
I almost went with like a soccer movie.
Maybe there's a cricket movie. There was nothing. There's
Yeah.
really outside of the with your
You
major
got
league,
boxing. That's about it.
you boxing, I guess, and but
Days
again,
of Thunder. How could I forget Days of Thunder? Tom Cruise, Robert Duvall.
I just don't have the attention span for movies like that.
Rubbin's Racing, Harry. Rubbin's
But
Racing.
when I was a kid, I was really, the movies that I did pick, they all seem to be my favorites when I was younger, like a
Yeah,
teenager, like
yeah.
White Man Can't Jump. One that nobody else said was Blue Chips with Shaquille O'Neal and Penny
Which
Hardaway
is,
was another one of my
Teen
favorites.
Wolf. Teen Wolf. How could we forget Teen Wolf?
Yeah, man. But
Does Talladega Nights count?
Talladega Nights counts, baby.
Semi-pro.
Semi-pro. I was not a
Semi-pro.
fan of semi-pro. I tried, was not a fan. I was very let down with semi-pro. There's good bits in it, and I just overall I just was not a
Seabiscuit.
fan.
That was Seabiscuit. I thought that was, I don't know.
Now, when you said Seabiscuit, it took me a second to remember that movie.
I thought that's pretty
Tobey
fucking
Maguire.
brilliant if you asked me. I would have
Yeah,
never, ever,
that was a
ever,
deep cut, man.
ever thought of Seabiscuit, but there you go.
Secretariat's another good horse racing one.
What other kind of thing? What other kind of sports movies are there with outside of
Here we go. Here we go. Cutting Edge, I believe it was called. Hold on, let me take a look at this.
what is there? There's no.
Yeah, Cutting Edge, where he was a former hockey player. He gets hurt and he goes and become a figure skater. That was a good movie.
Wasn't there a figure skating Will Ferrell movie too?
Blades of Glory.
Blades of Glory.
I danced to one song and one song only. My humps.
Kicking
My
and
humps.
screaming.
It's provocative.
Kicking and screaming. What is that?
It's a
Soccer movie.
movie.
So,
Okay.
soccer movie. Will
Yeah.
Ferrell. Ladybugs, another soccer movie. Ronnie Dangerfield.
I like that Mr. 500 or Mr. 300 or
Mr. 3000 with
3000.
the late great Bernie Mac.
That was really good.
That one was a good one.
The Fan with Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
that was, you know what, that is really excellent.
Mr. Baseball, when Tom Selleck has to go, he plays over in Japan. That was a good one.
What's the one with all the girls and Tom Hanks? League of Their Own.
League of Their Own.
League of Their Own.
Don't get the clap. It sounds
Field
like
of
it's
Dreams.
baseball.
This was a bit of a shocker, guys. 49ers fired defense coordinator Steve Wilks. Tuesday, Kyle Shanahan said that there will be no coaching changes. And a defense that I thought did very, 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 very well this season, all the way through the Super Bowl. I mean, of course, they did have that one drive where the team drives the ball down the field, which it seems that happens in every single NFL football game anymore. But that defense was pretty damn good to fire your defensive coordinator, guys. I don't, and it wasn't the defense's fault they lost the game. And you know, what do you make of that?
Apparently, like from what I've been reading, at least on Twitter and a couple of articles I read, there's been like issues with I guess between Wilkes and Shanahan for a while that just been brewing under the surface. I don't know, how you have to make that relationship work because that defense was top notch all year long. You know, you got to be able to put your, some type of differences aside to make it work. And I think he was the scapegoat for Kyle Shanahan.
I think the silver
line. This guy, Kyle Shanahan's choked in three Super Bowls.
Well, you got to say though, guys. I mean, he was only there 1 year. He was, he hasn't been there a long time. Maybe it was just something personal, and it was, irreconcilable. And they said, something's got to give, and Kyle Shanahan ain't going nowhere.
No,
but like I said, it was such a surprise because that defense
was so good,
such a big part of that team.
Well, then you got Brandon Ayuk, hinting that he might be wanting to go elsewhere. Yeah, this is what happens when you don't win the Super Bowl, man. It can really, really tear the team apart. And you're seeing that more and more now where, like you said, man, just by listing off quarterbacks who went there one time and lost their
number is crazy.
And a lot of those quarterbacks stay in one place. So the history is not on their side of being able to go back.
Here's an interesting Kansas City stat. If you heard it, just bear with me. The Chiefs offensive line has had 0 holding penalties in 3 straight Super Bowls. Okay. The Chiefs offensive line has had 0 holding penalties in 3 straight Super Bowls. Get this, Kansas City led the NFL in holding penalties during the 23-24 season.
They lock it up in crunch time,
I guess.
I know people were saying Bosa was being held all game long, and they're showing the one where he did a spin move while he was being blocked. They're trying to say that was a hold. Like, no, the lineman was continuing his block, and Bosa spun into it. I guarantee you slow it down frame by frame, you can find holding calls that were missed. But you can, what's the old saying? You can call holding on every single play on every single offensive lineman on every team.
And it's funny, 12 plus quarters.
They never had a holding penalty.
Has not got one single holding penalty. That just, come on.
That was like when Seattle's the Legion of Boom, that Super Bowl run. They never got called for pass interference, but you watch them, they were beating the receivers up like they were Mel Blount back in the 70s. So
49ers offensive lineman John Feliciano, he says that the Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter actually threatened him and his children with death during a game against the Eagles this year. You know what, that Jalen Carter, he's a bit of a loose cannon.
He's a wild card.
He is a wild card.
He is a wild card.
But he's just one of them freaking nature guys that you want to have on your team. I don't care how crazy this guy is. He's, I've seen him do things, Mike, this year as a rookie that I haven't seen that I haven't seen anybody ever do in the NFL. With the move where he dove under the center's leg. Yeah. He dove under the center's, between the centers. I mean, as big as his ass is, he's diving between somebody's legs.
Yeah.
And he tries to intercept the ball that was getting spiked. I thought, how fucking amazing is that? Nobody's, I've never seen anybody do that.
Not
And a
me
guy,
either. Yeah, it was like a high school. He saw like a high school kid try. So he's like, I can do that in pros. Dude's nut. He,
he's
we
next
used to
level shit,
celebrate
this
players
guy.
who were crazy back in the day. I said we embrace it now. Just embrace him for who he
Oh,
is. He's a
everybody's
nut. He's a
crazy
whack
now. It's
job.
almost like you want to embrace the people that aren't crazy because
That's
everybody's a
true. But
fucking
still,
nut.
I want my defensive lineman to walk that line.
Yeah.
And he walks that line.
Like Sue, Sue, and if you put together the ultimate crazy defensive line of all time,
If the king of the crazy defensive lineman was Mean Joe Green, he's ripping people's helmets off back in the day, stomping on their nuts, punching them.
Miles
He
Garrett
picked up a
might be on that
football
team.
in the middle of the fourth quarter, walked off the field, threw it in the stands because the Steelers were losing. He's like, "No, the game's over. We're done."
Miles Garrett was
Miles Garrett,
Miles
yeah.
Garrett, Jalen Carter,
Mean Joe
Sue.
Green, and Sue. That's a good defensive line right there. You're winning some playoff games right there, boys.
That or you're putting the hurting on somebody. I mean, one way or the other.
Or they're all suspended for the season. It's a fine line you want. How much better is Bosa than Watt? Nah, I think Watt's better than Bosa.
You know what? I kind of agree with you, but I kind of don't because again, I'm still seeing Bosa stop the run. I seen him break into the backfield, shoot across the line, and tackle a guy going to the left, which is something about 4 years ago that I used to go on and on about TJ
what?
Because I would always say he had that long ass arm, and he would reach the whole way across the line and
like
grab
Van
the guy.
Geef.
But he hasn't done that in seasons. I can't say that.
But Watt's
depending
better
on what you're talking about, it's really one way or the other. I don't think you can say somebody's better.
Yeah, Watt's better in coverage than Bosa and Garrett.
I mean, is he? I had never seen that. Does Bosa ever drop back? And
but he doesn't drop back in coverage.
These guys are defensive linemen. They're not going to.
Yeah. Well, no. There are no defensive linemen anymore.
You know what I'm saying? They're not outside linebackers. Mike, is what I'm saying.
It's my
that you're never going to get unless you play for the Patriots and Bill Belichick. You're not going to ever see a defensive.
Yeah, or you don't have
lineman drop back in coverage.
Like the 3-4 zone blitz. With Dick LeBeau, you'd see Casey Hampton, dropping back in the coverage. You don't see that anymore. And that's just my argument against PFF. They want to classify, 3-4 outside linebackers and 4-3 DNs. That's the same position. They have different responsibilities.
PFF already got Justin Fields in a Steeler uniform. I'm so fed up with this.
Everyone
PFF.
has Justin Fields just because that's the betting favorite. That's like the hot story. Who last year we were supposed to trade for someone. I forget who it was. Every year it seems now the Steelers are like we're going to get this top flight free agent, or we're going to go make this trade. And we don't.
And
we'll slide up and down the draft board.
I just want to see once where they actually do go out and get a big name free. And I'm not talking about right now with this quarterback. I'm talking about just in general. I would just like to see them go get that guy instead of waiting and scraping the Quan Alexanders and scraping the. Again, these guys they're good, they're productive, but you could get top line guys. You would see a big improvement on the defense.
The problem is though, how you pointed out, 3 guys are 33% of the cap. And the Steelers every year spend up to the cap, so it's hard to have that money once free agency happens. And maybe it's time for the Steelers to, move on from players earlier, kind of like how they used to in the Tom Donahoe era. You would see guys, would barely reach their second contract, or if they got a second contract, it was a 2-year deal. Then boom, you're gone after them. We don't care if you go and have 1 or 2 more years of success somewhere else, because guess what? We have more people in place ready to go, or we can use that money elsewhere.
To kind of answer what Brian had asked on the board, to be honest, I think every one of those guys, everybody that you talk about in that conversation, Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, Max Crosby, TJ Watt, they're all the same player. The statistics go a little bit for, one way for this guy, a little bit that way for another guy. This guy has more rushes. This guy has more sacks. This guy has more drop back. It's basically the same guy. To sit there and say that there's a definitive player that's better out of that group of players in that particular position, I think is nuts. I really do. I don't see they all dominate in their own way.
Yeah.
And it just depends what you're looking at. And if you want to look at this guy's stats, it's stopping the run and compare it against this guy's. Okay, well, this guy might be better, and that's going to cause an argument. Well, this guy's just better. Well, that's not the case because this guy could drop back into coverage, so he's better. And if that's not the case, well, this guy gets to the quarterback. So you take that lump of players, which they're all very talented. Aiden Hutchinson, I think he's very effective in that
Oh
position
yeah,
as well.
he's going to enter that conversation soon.
But you don't. I don't feel that there's much difference. There's not very much of a difference between it. If you have that guy, good for you. He's productive on your team. To call that guy the defensive player of the year by default every year, I think is ludicrous. I just can't imagine why you wouldn't go with somebody who gets 200 tackles a year or upwards of 7-8 interceptions a season, and you automatically go to that one position. That just shows you to me how politics is involved in football. Just as the quarterback position is a political position on offense, I think this is the political position on defense right now, and it's a popularity contest for whatever reasons. But I think Myles Garrett's probably done. I think it's on to the next now. It's going to be the next guy that who we're going to learn early. They're going to tell you early. They're going to tell you who the top three are going to be, and then we're all going to fight all year next year about who it is going to be. And then at the end of the year, it's going to be one of them people. And
look for Micah Parsons, Aiden Hutchinson to start getting in that conversation, so they'll have him prime ready to go 2 years down the line, and maybe Max Crosby mixed in as well. I think those might be the three we start talking about.
The fact that you leave Max Crosby out of the running this year is insane because he probably outperformed them all.
I think he was the most consistent of all the edge rushers, but he was the most consistent guy.
Steelers, they secure Baltimore Ravens linebacker Jeremiah Moon from the waivers. You like that pickup, Mike? Jeremiah Moon?
Nice little depth piece. Why not? To see, put him on the practice squad, see if he has anything there. We know inside backer, was a position of need. Last year's how many we went through, the attrition that happened there. So I don't think he's going to be a starter, but he's a nice little piece to have. We'll see what you got.
The other one, the thing that everyone was going crazy about yesterday, but I figured it out pretty quick, was the rumor that Mitch Trubisky was going to the Ravens. I mean, I'm sure everybody's seen this meme, this post. It's not true. Mitch Trubisky isn't going to the Ravens. Not as of yet, anyway. I think they're happy with their backup situation, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Mitch might be done. I don't know if anyone's going to give him a chance again.
I think he could land somewhere. If he
wants one more shot.
If he wants to be on the sidelines, I think he could land somewhere if he doesn't mind.
He can land 4th and 2 on the Commanders.
There we go.
Steelers looking to re-sign starting cornerback Shannon Sullivan. Mike, do you like Shannon Sullivan in the mix of moving forward as far as the secondary goes? I mean, we're trying to fill some holes, trying to improve on the cornerback positions.
I would like to get better depth than Shannon Sullivan. Yeah, I think we can find much better than him.
I mean, he's a starter. Patrick Peterson was depth, and
I just want better players than Shannon Sullivan.
I want better players than Patrick Peterson. He's the one that I thought Shannon Sullivan came through in certain situations last season, and you just wasn't expecting it. And I think maybe just we were expecting a little bit too much from Patrick Peterson. So I don't know. It just all depends on which way they decide they're going to go. I know they are very excited. They're trying to sign cornerback Shannon Sullivan, so we will see how that turns out. But we do have to. We got to do something. And here's the thing: we sit here and talk about the 5 main positions that we need.
We need help in all of them.
We have a lot of holes to fill. I mean, we watched last season play out, and even if a quarterback comes along and is pretty productive, I still think those holes are going to shine, they're going to open up when you get to the playoffs, or when you play a Buffalo Bills team, or when you play a San Francisco or a Philadelphia team. Those holes they're just gonna blow open because they're very important holes that need to be fixed.
There are, and looking at the free agent corner market, it's Steven Nelson might be the most attractive right now. Stephon Gilmore, he'll be the name to look for, but he's 33 years old. So is Micah Hyde. There's no real good one unless the cornerback from Chicago, Jalen Jones becomes available. If he doesn't, we got to figure something out. We got to take corner in the first round.
I mean, Levi
And then,
Wallace.
like Ryan said, we have so many people we have to fix.
I think Levi Wallace would be the equivalent of what Steven Nelson was when he was here.
Yeah,
They're both quiet. You don't hear their names, which is a good thing. But you know what? A lot of times at the end of a broken play or a play where the coverage is misread and the other team scores, you always tend to see Levi
like
Wallace just
Wallace.
come
Yeah,
traipsing into the screen
yeah,
as it finishes. Um,
yeah. So it's like,
but
did he blow the coverage, or was he covering for someone who blew a coverage?
But then you got to say to yourself, I mean, he's basically the same player as Steven Nelson was. Yeah, Steven Nelson did shine a little bit more down in Houston, but I mean, when he was here, this was the player he was. He was quiet. You didn't hear his name, and we were happy with that because
Yeah,
again, when you hear their name, it's never a good thing if it's a cornerback. So that's a big position we do have to fill. I mean, people
yeah.
do talk about this line a lot, and the cornerback is
There,
just
there's
as
so
important.
many, that defense. Steeler fans, you are, you're not allowed to criticize that defense, but that defense has a ton of holes.
I don't think
Ton.
that's the case. I mean, that's that's an old school way of thinking. I think everyone's criticizing everybody,
Yeah,
especially with the internet nowadays.
but
Um,
it's still, when it's never always the deep. You can't, you know,
oh,
people don't
because
want you to go
it
too far
wasn't
in the
all the.
defense,
I mean, it wasn't all defense. It was.
but that defense needs a lot of help. That D line,
I
cornerback.
mean, we have receivers giving up on play. And there's so many things need to be fixed in order for this season to turn out better than
Yeah,
last season. But again, we did make an improvement from the season before. So
we did. Yeah,
you make an adjustment here. You bring a couple guys in there.
yeah,
You could be looking at a playoff win next year.
could be.
Realistically, you just don't fall so far down the track and get a high seed in the first round. You get a little bit better of a chance to win
Yeah,
that first round game. I do know yesterday or the day before you was saying you like Green Bay in next year's
Green Bay is
playoffs.
like a dark horse. They're not like a favorite, but they're a team that, like, be on the lookout for Green Bay.
See, Green Bay's a team that they seem like they have our situation, but they have the quarterback,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they just have a lot of other holes that they need to fill to make that
Yeah,
team, be a contender. Um, but Green Bay's going to be interesting. I think 2 3 years down the road, they're probably going to be the team with that that young quarterback back there, Jordan
hmm
Love, and as other teams start to dissemble after their successful runs, Green Bay,
yeah.
they might just find their way up the ladder. Speaking
Who-
of, yeah.
I'm gonna say that NFC North could become a pretty tough division out there in the West, or out there in the NFC.
The NFC North is always tough, whether it shows on paper or
Yeah,
on the field.
they might be the team that sends multiple teams to the playoffs and do some damage.
Denver center Lloyd Cushenberry, the free agent center. People are speculating he could be the Steelers' future franchise center, and we could pluck him out of in free agency and get that taken care of. Mike, you have any opinion one way or another on Lloyd Cushenberry?
I do not. I don't know enough about him, to be honest, to speak one way or the other on him.
Yeah,
I just know, like, the guys I want in the draft are, the what's his name from Oregon, and Fraser from Wisconsin, from West Virginia. Um,
but
those are my
Cushenberry, as I was saying, he is the guy that they are saying that he could be a guy we could
yeah,
fix that position for long term through free
yeah.
agency. And if we
I,
do that, Mike, how does that affect your draft? How does that affect your top three
so
picks?
that
If we
frees
get
up.
if we would get this Lloyd Cushenberry,
Uh-huh.
what do you do? 1, 2, 3.
So if we grab him, one, I'm either going, depending on how the board falls, cornerback or right tackle in first round. Second round, I'm going ugh, second round's tough too. Maybe inside linebacker second round. Then third round, take a look at one of the positions you didn't get, cornerback or right tackle.
Brian on the board. You know what? I sure hope Corey Trice is good. And the thing about Corey Trice, he kind of puts me in mind of the previous year with Austin.
Calvin Austin.
Calvin Austin the third. He got hurt real early. There was, you heard a lot about him prior to him playing. We got him out of college. We stole him from Baltimore. I'm talking about Austin, and you just couldn't wait. And you know what? He came through. I thought for what he was called to do last year, I thought Terrell Austin did really good. And I hope Corey Trice kind of falls in that track as well. I don't think he's going to, I don't think he's going to blow the top off or anything. But he is, again, a lot of people say he's the guy that corner that's built like Joey Porter. He's long armed, and you see how that's kind of working its way into the NFL. I can't wait. He was one of my favorite picks. It was either last or second to last pick last season for us. I couldn't wait to see Corey Trice play. A lot of good talk about him, and then he gets hurt early. I mean, he's out for the season. How many times is this going to happen to us?
Yeah, before you get that guy. Yeah. Here you go for Cushenberry. Your PFF grades: pass blocking 76.4, run blocking 72.4 for an overall offensive line grade of 73.2.
Cool.
He gave up 1 sack this year and had 5 penalties on 1,070 snaps.
Not bad.
So according to PFF, good numbers. Like I said, like outside of like Creed Humphreys, Jason Kelsey, what's his name down in Baltimore. Those are like the centers that I really know about. Ragnow up in Detroit. So do some more research on good old Mr. Cushenberry III here.
According to Yahoo Sports, these are the 4 things that the Steelers must do. Of course, we have a general idea, but let's see what Yahoo Sports
has to say.
Yahoo number 1 says these 4 things is what the Steelers have to do to make it to the Super Bowl. Okay. Number 1, replace Mason Cole. Replace Mason Cole.
Yeah.
Number 1 on the list. Number 2.
Steelers, real quick, the Steelers like Mason Cole as a backup.
Which is fine. I would be more than happy to have him as a backup.
Yeah.
Number 2, according to Yahoo, add a quality cornerback.
Yeah. I want more than a quality cornerback. You said corner, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want a starting cornerback.
And what if that's what I'm saying. I can't wait to see who's out there. I want to look and see who free agents are. I want to see, I'm getting anxious. Number 3, figure out how to win with Kenny Pickett, which we weren't exactly losing with Kenny, but
they got to keep the game close.
Yeah. And number 4, fortify the middle of the defense.
Yeah. D-line, middle linebackers.
These are 4 big fucking things. You got to fix the center. You got to fix the offensive line, which, that's a big thing because, you're trying to find your guy, that center, that anchor, that guy in the middle of the offensive line. You got to get a guy who's, going to be able to stop big play receivers. Again, you have 1 good cornerback. You got 3 good receivers. Matchups are always
Yeah. Like in the draft, I wouldn't be opposed to see the Steelers double dip at cornerback. Take 1 in the first round or 1 in the third round.
Yeah.
I would not be opposed if you think because you got there's cornerback coming out of Michigan, Mike Centrilli. He's more of like that Mike Hilton slot type corner. Now, if you can get Kool-Aid McKinstry, Nate Wiggins, Terrion Arnold in the first round, this guy slides to the third, I would pick him up in a heartbeat.
I'm just curious who
to the mix. If you
say there was, a handful of these guys, because we say all these big names, and a majority of them's gone by 20.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait to see who's still available at 20. Yep. Because it is, it's a handful of positions that we are looking for help. Well, and there's gotta be somebody that's one of the top at those positions.
Yeah.
By the time it gets to number 20,
like in the draft, you will see a run on positions. Like a team will start picking a cornerback, and then teams behind them panic and take corner. So then you get down there, your guy might not be there. So do you trade up? Or maybe there's a run on quarterbacks going in the first 15
or do you think,
picks.
Mike, maybe they just go, as you mentioned, that 1 and 3 on the cornerback. You do have Corey Trice working his way back into the situation. So maybe that would be a reason not to do something like that.
They really liked Darius Rush, who they picked up from someone's practice squad. He was an undrafted free agent coming out of South Carolina. He fits the build that they're looking for. Bigger receiver, tall, physical receiver who can, play man. So they have him there as well as another project that they're looking at. They really wanted to get him in the draft, but it just didn't fall that way. And they got him as an undrafted free agent. So outside of there's two projects there, but I'd rather get another high draft pick at corner and
Another
another mid rounder
project
and have those guys compete too.
from behind the nose tackle's ass back. You have a handful of inside linebackers who appear to be injury prone. I don't know. People say they were, people say they weren't, but I seem to see this happening before it did happen. These guys all went down, they dropped like flies. So your inside linebacker positions, the whole depth of them is in my opinion a liability at this point, and go all the way back through your safeties. The safeties who knows who will be back, but they were all injured as well, even including Minka Fitzpatrick. He's not going anywhere. Of course, he has that position locked up, but there's nobody from, like I said, behind the center's asshole to the back of the secondary that didn't get hurt and it was solid at that position all year. And even for somebody like Minka, he wasn't making those plays that he's made for the past 5 seasons. We need a lot of help in the middle of that defense.
Yeah, Patrick Queen's available, but we won't be able to afford him. He's going to want a big contract like TJ Watt has, like Highsmith has. So forget about him. Devin Bush is available, everyone.
There you go.
Go back to the well. Old man Bobby Wagner is available, but I think
I'd take Bobby Wagner in a second.
I think he might go back to Seattle and retire.
He's still more productive than anything that we have at his age. I would take him in a second.
Yeah,
he would be an improvement. He would be an improvement instantly.
Yeah. You got Willie Gay Jr. out of Kansas City. I believe he's another one I'd take a look at. There Devin White, but he peaked early in his career, kind of like Devin Bush. I just don't inside backer, man. We got to find someone. Like I said, man, there's holes on every position on this team.
There really is. Even where we think that we're good, there's holes.
Yeah.
It's you're literally going to hear those same few positions over and over. People are going to say your offensive line. Look at every position. There's holes everywhere. There really is.
I'm not joking. You can take a player from any position in this draft outside of kicker, and I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah.
The kicker's the only spot that we are solid at.
And you don't go after. Come on, that's crazy in the draft.
But you know what I'm saying. You draft in free agency to find a starter. Yeah, of course, we're going to sign kickers for as a camp leg, or take a look at someone in case Boss gets hurt. But yeah,
I mean, when they drafted Presley Harvin, I thought, well, how weird. You don't draft a punter. You see what's out there. You go with what's the best.
Yeah.
And majority of the time, the guy does good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
Presley Harvin just stunk. He stunk.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't even be opposed to the Steelers drafting another outside linebacker. Because they're going to need depth there. We see what happens with Watt.
I mean, not early. You could
go not early. But anywhere in the draft, I wouldn't even be opposed to like a third or fourth rounder outside linebacker, because you never know what's going to happen to Watt. Never know what's going to happen with Heisman.
So negative 125 odds. Justin Fields, according to everybody, is going to be in a Steeler uniform next year. I do know that the Steelers, the Denver Broncos, and the New England Patriots are all in the running, but the Steelers are the front runner. And the other one,
favorite.
The betting favorite.
Because that's what moving the needle right now is Justin Fields to Pittsburgh.
And Kirk Cousins also. Kirk Cousins is happy to hear that he is a candidate for the Pittsburgh Steelers, whether he is or whether he isn't. He's happy to hear that this, that could be a possibility. Realistically, Mike, do you feel that either one of these guys could be in a Steeler uniform this coming season?
I don't. I really think they're committed to giving Kenny one more shot.
I do too.
To see, okay, hey, we got the slate's clean. We got a new offensive coordinator who had success at his last stop as an offensive coordinator. We saw what, Deontay and George and Najee and Pat were able to do at the last half of the season. All right, let's put you back in here. These guys are rocking and rolling. Let's jump on the moving train. We're going to get everyone starting fresh with this new offensive coordinator. Go out there and do it. This is your one shot. This is your make or break year. Because next year, that's your 4th year. We're probably not going to pick up your 5th-year option if you don't succeed. And guess what? You will be that 4th year here. That will be your last year here. So yeah, it's all put all the pressure on him and see if he can rise to the occasion. I think
Right.
that's what they're going to do. They'll bring in someone like Tannehill to be a mentor, or they might bring in a Mariota, a Zach Wilson as competition.
Who do you like out of
But
those names that you just said? Mariota, Zach Wilson, the first one that you said.
Whatever's cheap.
Tannehill.
I mean, the Tannehill. I mean, these guys are guys that, like you said, you kind of throw in that position to get a veteran backup, somebody to have
Yeah.
back there. Anybody out of that group that you wouldn't?
I wouldn't want any of them. No,
Yeah,
I don't even want Tannehill.
No,
like to me, Tannehill would be that third quarterback, and if you get someone to actually challenge Kenny, Tannehill would be that third one to help teach both of them, so the team is in a good spot. That's what I would do with Tannehill. But like, hey, you're gonna get a veteran minimum contract, and you're gonna be the service the mentor to these two quarterbacks. You will treat them both equally. But like to get someone to actually push Kenny, like if you're trading for Justin Fields, you're giving up draft cap, like a high draft pick. You're not going to make him compete and be a second stringer.
You're not
going to go out and get a Kirk Cousins, a Baker Mayfield, or a Russell Wilson to compete with Kenny. No, those guys are starting.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe a Gardner Minshew might be a guy that will compete with him, but
he's
a journeyman quarterback. But to me,
I think he's better than half the quarterbacks that you named. I would rather have Gardner Minshew over Marcus Mariota any day.
Me too. He has a proven track record of succeeding above expectations, man.
He's Ryan Fitzpatrick-y to me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
He might not get you to the Super Bowl win, might not even get you the playoffs, but he will be competitive out there for you.
That's why I like Baker Mayfield too. The reason I never really bring him up is I just feel that he's who I feel would be a really good fit. So I know it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I liked him in college. They're
not going to do anything that's not going to make us scratch our head at the end of the day. We're whatever they do, we're going to be sitting here going, okay, well,
they're committed to Kenny, and you know what? I don't blame them for being to him. You invested a first round pick.
Oh yeah,
right. You see it in every sport. Every team does this. They're going to give your number one pick more chances than anyone else.
Absolutely.
Even though everyone knows we should move on, you want to give them that one final chance to see, okay, were we wrong or were we
somebody else we missed we dropped the ball on, I thought was Chase Young. Boy, did his career turn around when he showed up in San Francisco.
He didn't
even look
like up and down out there though too.
He didn't look like he wanted to be alive when he was in Washington. He was he was a force to be reckoned with in the playoffs, especially.
He was a force in the Super Bowl. In the championship game, he was loafing around a lot, looking like he didn't want to be there.
But then he was still more productive than Alex Highsmith was.
But then the Super Bowl, he was lights out.
Where's Highsmith? Can we put him in the same? You could put him in the same category.
He was. They overpaid for him way too much.
And the thing about that, everybody knows it.
Yeah,
it's just the comes down to the Steelers don't want to commit they're wrong. Everybody knows that they paid way too much for Alex Highsmith. The guy gets roughly the same amount of production as Cam Hayward gets. I mean, you could count on one hand the games that he has where you would think, okay, well this game he's deserving of that money that he makes. Yeah. One hand you could find all those games out.
Highsmith was not. He was barely noticeable outside a handful of games.
I agree.
And like you break down the amount of snaps that all the outside linebackers played, and if Golden and Herbig played the same amount of snaps as Watt and Highsmith, they all would have had the two backups would have been in that 13 to 14 sack range, maybe 15 sacks.
Oh, they would have outperformed Alex Highsmith. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Both of them, Herbig and Marcus Golden. I believe that.
And I think those two would a rotation of those two would have been more effective on that side with Watt on the other, because Highsmith completely disappeared. And I like Alex Highsmith. I saw you watch him grew every year he was a third round pick, slowly came in and was making plays. But last year, he was a product of TJ Watt. When we saw Watt was out, his production dropped. And this year, he had outside of the Cleveland game and maybe one other game, I can't remember a game where he truly dominated, where you justify paying him $14 to $17 million a year.
It was the Cleveland game. That's the one that stands out to me. That was a really good game that he played. Yeah. He punched that ball out. TJ Watt picked it up and ran it in for a touch. I mean, that was what you expect to see.
Yes.
And again, maybe not every single week, but more than what we did.
More than that, yeah. because I get it. You can't play like that everywhere,
Right.
but you can bring that same effort and intensity. And this is what happens when you make these big money contracts. You're held to a higher standard than everyone else. It comes with
Absolutely.
the territory. We
It's a
held
lot of
Ben to
money.
an
If you don't just
extremely
give,
high standard.
you got to understand, you can't just give people that kind of money. They got to earn it.
Yeah,
That's the deal.
yeah. And once you earn it and hit that, guess what? You're expected to do that game in, game out. I
Uh,
know I beat this dead horse. Look across town. We hold Crosby, Malcolm, Letang to these extremely high standards because they make the most, and they've actually won something. You know, if
now
you
we're
want to make
just
the high money,
now we're just riding that horse into the sunset. I'm
Yeah.
convinced they make no moves until them three are gone. Those
I don't think so.
those
Yeah, I
three are
think it's going to
those
be a
three are
farewell
selling
tour.
seats. They know that they're not going to win any more Stanley
Yeah,
Cups. People are showing up to see them play. Uh,
yeah,
Moving into hockey, Mike, the Pittsburgh Penguins, they drop another one
yep,
to the Florida Panthers last night, 5-2 at home. That drops the Penguins 23-20-7 on the season.
yep.
The Panthers are 34-15-4. Penguins are in seventh place in the Metropolitan Division. Goals for the Penguins: John Ludwig scores his first goal last night. Brian Rust with the other. Mike, what's this team got to do to get back on track?
There's nothing they can do. The coach refuses to change anything.
Let's just
It's
enjoy the Hall
systemical.
of Famers, until
Yeah,
they're done. That's
Yeah,
what it's about.
Mike Sullivan, he has great job security over there because no one in the media wants to blame him for anything that's going wrong over there, and it's a perfect storm for him. But no, like they refuse to adapt on the power play. Yeah, they move Carlson around, they move Malkin around, move some pieces around, but they have like 22 power play goals this year or something like that. They're terrible on the power play. You have all those Hall of Famers. You need to figure it out. They gave up two goals in like a 20-second span or some shit like that. This team, they're done. They are done. They're not going to make the playoffs. They might have a winning record at the end of the year, but they're done. And they're going to keep Gensel, let him walk as a free agent, seem to make it look like they're trying to compete. But this team is done. They should have moved on from Malkin and Letang. Just move on from them, and you would use all that money to rebuild. They'll get free agents now, or when they had no movement clauses, trade them when you had the opportunity to get someone when they had high value, so you were able to keep the success going. Yeah, it's a nice story that no, they're all three might retire as Penguins, but nice stories don't win championships.
Back in action tonight, the Penguins are in Chicago to take on the Blackhawks at 8:30 tonight.
And Crosby is having an MVP caliber season. He might end up close to like a 50 goals, 100 point season. We are wasting. He is not the problem. He is aging like fine wine.
Saying that he is.
He still might be a top 10 player in the league, top 5 some nights. He's
Speaking
still one of the best two-way players.
The Pittsburgh Pirates, Mike, they out of 30 teams in Major League Baseball, right now in the Major League Baseball power poll, the Pittsburgh Pirates sit at 27. 27, a lot to be optimistic about this year at the Pirates.
Only
over
97 losses
past 24 hours, 48 hours, they signed Yasmani Grandal, the catcher, and the left-handed pitcher Josh Fleming. And immediately after signing both of these young men, they placed them on 60-day injured list. So Pittsburgh Pirates doing what the Pittsburgh Pirates do.
And there's talk though Henry
This is
Davis,
the Cleveland Browns of baseball. You
Yeah,
can't justify anything that they do.
No, and they're going to send Davis down to the minors. There's talk that he's going to why you draft? He wasn't he the first?
Like he's not
pick?
better than most of the people on the team anyway.
Yeah,
you want to send him down to improve. He's already better than everybody. Send everybody else down if you're going to start sending people down. The guy is actually productive. The guy's a contact hitter. The guy gets on base. The guy scores runs. What more can you want from a guy? You have a bunch of schlubs on this team who do nothing night after night for 6 months straight, and this guy actually does, and he's the one that you're sending to the minors.
And it's all about contract control. That's what it's about. They want to, control until he hits arbitration, until he hits free agency. That's all it is. It's not about development for him. Like you said, he's better than most of the players on this team. And if he struggles, I'd rather have him struggle and figure it out in the major leagues than in the minors. He's only going to get better by playing against, major league talent at this point. Because if you keep him down in the minor leagues, he will just turn into a what they call a 4A player. Can barely hack it in the pros, but dominates it in the minors.
Well,
And I don't want that.
It's not the case. He can't. The guy's better than most of the people on
He
this
is.
team
He is.
already. If you watched him play last year, was he a tawny? No, but come on, compared to what the
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, the 27th best team out of 30
Yeah.
has, you'd think
Yeah.
that this guy was
Yeah.
terrible with
And they were
what they're
playing
doing.
him out of position, making him play out in the outfield. Put him behind the plate. Let him work on his defensive game up here in the pros. We're not winning a World Series. Let him get
In
better.
a situation where you lose Endy for the season, why couldn't this guy play catch?
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
This is what it feels like to be a Browns fan. I know that. You know that.
Yeah.
Geez, oh man, this team is so stupid.
This is why I can we go on an extended hiatus once baseball season starts?
No.
Because I'm already having an aneurysm from this team.
Penn State trustees push to rename Beaver Stadium after Joe Paterno.
Guys, let it go. Let it go. Like Elsa said, let it go.
Let it go, like do it, or let it go, like just no. Don't even mention.
Don't even go there. Just let it go.
Really?
Yeah, just let it go. Once we found out, like he knew what was up. No, you pull out the old, Stalin regime. You just purge him from the records and act like it didn't happen. Like in Germany, was on vacation from 1929 to 1945. Nothing happened over there. Nothing happened in Happy Valley from 1960 until he died. Just erase it from your history.
You really want to scare and intimidate your opponents? Name the stadium the Shower Stall or something. None of these young men are going to want to visit that place. Come on.
But we've done like the players that stayed after all that scandal happened and came out. They ate shit at that university to move on from that stuff that they had nothing a part of it. Everyone else who's come in after it has distanced themselves from that, except all the old heads out there that won't go away from it. It's over. It's done. It's a tarnished legacy. Let it go. Penn State's better for it. Not having to be associated with that family anymore.
The fact that this is even a thing is a joke.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's I would love to say it's like a small mindset, but no, it's like a cult out there, man.
Oh, Penn State, yes, absolutely. Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website, man?
I think get me all fired up. The Dumyinzers.com. The number 2 DUMYINZERS.com. Over there, we got our merch store. We got the links to all of our socials. If you're new here, go over there. And we got the blog there. And like I said, Monday, the first mock draft will be up there with my thoughts of who we should take in, who alternates are that we could take at those positions as well. All at the2dumyinzers.com.
Go check it out, everybody. www.the2dumyinzers.com. www.the2dumyinzers.com. Guys, I want to break into the trivia because we are getting close on time here. This one is just a general football question. Football is done for a while, but not here at the Two Dumb Yinzers. Today's question is a football question. Are you ready, guys?
Ready.
Derby, you ready?
I'm ready.
What about when Brian asked him yesterday if he was how many shows he was doing at that exact moment?
I almost said before he even started to talk about that, I was going to tell Brian, Derpy's probably working for the podcast as we speak.
All right, play along on the board as well if you'd like. Here is the question of the day, guys. What year was the last time that the Commanders/Redskins shut out a team? I'm looking for a year.
Oh my God.
What year was the last time that the Commanders/Redskins shut out another team in the NFL? Think that over, guys. If you'd like choices, I'll give them to you when I get back. We are live, everybody, 5 days a week, right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. The live show that we do every day gets uploaded over on Spotify at 8 o'clock p.m. If you just have rather listen to the show, some people would rather listen to it. This live show that we do today will be uploaded at 8 o'clock p.m. on Spotify. Check it out. All right, guys, the question of the day is this. What year was the last time that the Commanders/Redskins shut a team out? Does anybody want choices on this? Because it's a specific year.
Yeah, I need choices.
Derpy? I
need choices.
All right, so here are your choices, guys. What year was the last time that the Commanders/Red Wings shut a team out? Was it A, 1991, B, 1999, C, 1989, D, 2011? And this is the last year that the Washington football franchise shut another team out in the NFL. 1991, 1999, 1989, 2011. Mike, I'm going to start with you on this. I think I started with Derpy the last couple of days. What do you think? When was the last time they shut somebody out?
Let's go with C.
1989.
Yeah.
All right. I would lock you in, but my computer's as sick as I am today, and I just I you know what, I just didn't have the energy to even mess with it. Derpy, over to you. What year was the last time that the Washington franchise shut a team out? Mike says 1989. However, your choices are 91, 99, 89, and 2011.
I'm gonna go 2011.
All right, so Mike says 1989. Derpy says 2011. You guys are locked into place. Guys, here's the question and answer. What year was the last time that the Washington football franchise shut a team out? Mike says 89. Derpy says 2011. The most recent and the most far away, according to our choices, the guys picked. The answer, 1991.
Oh, wow.
1991 was the last time a Redskins team shut somebody out. And I understand it's hard to do in the NFL. You know, these guys are all top tier athletes. But geez, oh man.
That's a long time.
What is it? That's like 33 years, right?
Don't ask me for math.
Yeah.
Jeez, oh man. They haven't had a shot. Wow. Think of that. I mean, you know, that, as we said the other day, that's more than a mortgage.
Yeah.
Stick to your politics, Washington.
Yeah. Crazy. We do want to thank everybody for checking us out. We appreciate each and every one of you, as always. Always we do. We wouldn't do it without you. We always appreciate everybody on the board. You can certainly keep things interesting every day. Mike, anything before we get ready to take off?
I got nothing other than thanks for watching, man. Everyone watching, appreciate it. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
Derpy.
I got something.
Yeah.
It's something sports and gaming related.
Okay.
The college football game that's coming out is being
25
in May.
Yes.
Yep, in May.
Oh,
I saw that.
I can't wait.
It's been forever since we got to play college football on a video game. Mine is this. Did anybody see these pictures that they have of Usher's rubber muscle bodysuit that he had on? They have pictures from behind, and I mean, remember how he came out looking all fantastic and everything?
Yeah.
Well, apparently there's pictures, a bunch of them. I've seen some where like he appears to have some kind of bodysuit in the back, and people are saying, well, maybe it's like where his mic is hooked up.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, it's real bizarre, like almost like he has a some kind of bodysuit over his flesh. So just something interesting. I know that all the girls are gushing over this guy who's getting a little bit older now. He's not exactly fresh out the cut anymore. Just something interesting. Maybe Usher was pulling one over our eyes. I don't know.
Hey, also, you know what? More power to him. I would.
Also, Derpy, before we go, we do got to say our daily pledge, Derpy. You know what you got to do.
Do I got to stand up for it?
Yes, you have to.
You don't got to stand up.
Yes,
Derpy,
Mike, shut up. Derpy, stand up. Are you standing?
Yep, I'm standing.
And you have to face your screen where you can see where you can see us.
Oh my God.
Put your hand over your chest.
You're the worst.
I'm doing it.
And say, I, Derpy.
I, Derpy.
Am not as smart as a 5-year-old.
Smart as a 5-year-old.
All right, there you go, Derpy. See, that wasn't that hard. Now you may sit down.
I hate you.
You guys, God.
But
it's the show.
There you go, everybody. Hey, you know what? This year is gonna fly right by, Derpy. You don't worry about that. You'll have your dues paid before you know it. Also, anything else, guys? Speak now, forever hold your peace.
I got nothing.
I got something.
Oh, you got something more, Derpy.
Derpy's on a roll.
Mike is bald.
I cut my hair in
You
shade
cut
to
your
look
hair.
You are still bald. You're
nice and
still
smooth.
bald.
Wow, look at you.
So shine bright like a diamond.
Like a what?
Like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond.
I do shine like whatever.
All right. I'm gonna go be sick. You guys have a great day. I do want to say thank you guys. You guys did awesome as always. Again, a big shout out to Brian
Yes.
Pasquale on One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Everybody from the show had a great time. I encourage people that maybe haven't seen it yet, go check it out. Go to YouTube right here where we're at. You can go over to Facebook, just type in WBVP, and it'll take you right to the videos. And it should be very, near the very top. Check it out. Very good show. Went down yesterday over WBVP. Again, One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Go check it out, everybody. Mike Derpy, is that everything?
That's everything, boys.
All right. For Mike at the Steelers
Roger,
Central mobile studio, for Derpy, myself, Dum Yinzers, everybody have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.